Let's ask somebody who actually does know what it's like to live under the Iranian regime if these comparisons are at all valid, and frankly, they're just not. Iranian-American attorney and activist whose family fled Iran following the 1979 Islamic Revolution, Elika לה-בון, joins us now. Elika, thank you for being here. It's such a dishonorable comment, not only to the United States and what we are, but also to those thousands of people who've been murdered by that regime. I mean, it's just, it makes a ridicule of what their lives stood for and what their families have gone through. What does it make you feel when you know what actually you can make a real comparison between the two countries?
You know, what it really speaks to now more than anything else is this mass collective delusion that we are living in. We're living in a country that provides us so much safety, so much privilege, so much comfort that people don't even know what it's like to live in other parts of the world. And because, you know, the world has been saturated with so much disinformation, this disinformation that was heightened particularly after October 7th, where there was this narrative that, you know, these terrorists are just freedom fighters and they're not that bad. It normalized this idea that actually these regimes in other parts of the world are not that bad, and maybe they're not even that different to the United States. Then you have people who are living in the lap of luxury saying things like living in the United States is exactly the same as living in Iran. Well, it's not anything like living in Iran, because Iran, they are hanging people from cranes statistically once every 6 hours. Just 2 weeks ago, they amputated 2 people's arms because they were accused of theft. Did they have due process? Did they have fair trials? No, that does not exist under the Islamic regime in Iran. When protesters came out in the streets to protest against this regime, which is our unequivocal right under the Constitution in the United States, did they get met with the same treatment? No, they were shot to death and they had their eyes shot out as punishment. So my response is, how dare you, how dare anybody compare the life that they're fortunate enough to live in the United States to what Iranian people are going through now and have been going through for the past 46 years.
Well, look, I'll also remind people that Whoopi Goldberg, this was a little more than 3 years ago, and she said it more than once, the Holocaust is not about race. It was not about race. The Holocaust was not about race. She said, you couldn't tell who was Jewish. She kept repeating that, that, you know, you could see my race, but, you know, if you see somebody walking down the street, you don't know if they're a Jew or not. And she was suspended by ABC, but she kept repeating the same thing over and over again. She said it was about man's inhumanity to man, not about race. So, but this kind of ignorance, and this is willful ignorance, really permeates the left. And it is hard to be online and see some of the garbage people have said about Iran, you know, in its defense.
Oh, absolutely. And as somebody who came from the left, you know, you really have to ask these questions. Okay, if you're safe because people don't know that you're a Jew, what happens when they find out? What happens when they find out? So if you're saying that visibility is equal to unsafety, then the only cure you're offering these people is that they should hide themselves. You're saying you're absolutely fine because so long as nobody knows you're a Jew, you'll be safe. Then you shouldn't practice your religion openly. You shouldn't have any you shouldn't wear anything that denotes that you might be of that faith. And in fact, they did have access to know exactly who the Jews were in Nazi Germany. They obviously have documents. They obviously have names. They obviously have passports and birth certificates, and that is exactly why it was a Holocaust at that time. And ironically, it is the same thing that they are bringing to the Western world today, because by disseminating this propaganda that is so pro authoritarians and terrorists, just because they happen to be the ones that are fighting Jews, right? People are now rallying behind the most dangerous and authoritarian regimes in the world just because of this impulse of anti-Semitism that they have in them. And that is exactly what happened in Nazi Germany. They voted for the party that promised to go against Jews, and they brought in a dictatorship. And that's exactly what they're going to do if they keep going down this line.
Elika, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Elika.
Thank you.